And now we move to the main event of the evening. For the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship, you have a battle between the current UFC Light Heavyweight Champion in Glover Teixeira, an MMA veteran with a record of 33 victories and 7 defeats, going up against the number 2 ranked kind of newcomer to the UFC, but coming off 2 fights in the promotion and 2 knockouts over 2 of the best in the division in Volkan Oezdemir and Dominic the Devastator Reyes, in Jiri Denisa or BJP Prochazka. So Jiri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. This is a fantastic fight. There's only one fight that I think could be better in this division, and it is Jiri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic. I thought Rakic was going to beat Jan Blachowicz, but obviously he blew his knee out in a fight where I believe he was on his way to winning that fight via decision or potentially getting a finish, but I would lean more towards the decision for that. But obviously that isn't what happened. Blew his knee out, unfortunate turn of events. But, Prochazka is the most entertaining light heavyweight in the UFC, and I believe the most entertaining light heavyweight in the world. I think he's one of the most entertaining guys in MMA, period. He is literally the human embodiment of the traditional samurai ways. I mean, you see the guy training, he's punching trees, he's going up to mountains and screaming his lungs out. He's meditating in the middle of the mountains. He's, sitting in the middle of a waterfall, meditating and everything like that. He's got that traditional martial artist lifestyle down to a T, and that's what he lives by. But in the cage, man, he's, again, got that kind of Wing Chun style with his hand movement and his stance switches and the hands out in front and the traditional karate style Wing Chun stance, switching his stances, moving back and forth. He reminds me a lot of a light heavyweight version of a Dominic Cruz. It's not exactly the same, but off the Volkan Oezdemir fight, that's kind of the vibe that I got, was a light heavyweight version of a Dominic Cruz. And going up against Glover Teixeira, Glover is a traditional mixed martial artist. He kind of has a Mike Tyson bob and weave traditional boxing style when it comes to, fighting on the feet. He does use some low kicks. He has a good right low kick. He doesn't go to it that often, but he might go to it against a guy who moves as much as Jiri Prochazka. I don't necessarily think he will, though. I think he's going to look to close the distance and use that phenomenal grappling and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and ground and pound that carried him through this win streak and carried him to that UFC title over Jan Blachowicz at UFC 267. We look at the record for Glover Teixeira. Pull it up really quick. He has 33 victories and 7 losses, 18 wins by way of KO, TKO, 10 by submission, 5 by decision. So 28 victories coming by way of finish out of 33 wins, 7 losses, 3 by knockout, and 4 by decision. He has been knocked out by Anthony Rumble Johnson, Alexander Gustafsson, and also, who else? Who are we missing? Who else knocked him out? Are we forgetting someone? Oh, he lost his first pro MMA fight back in June of 2002 to Eric Schwartz via TKO in the second round. But the most recent KOs obviously came to Alexander Gustafsson and Anthony Rumble Johnson. Rumble caught him early in the first round with a left hook into a right uppercut, got him to block high, protecting himself from the power right hand of Glover, and then came up the middle with an uppercut and put his lights out immediately at UFC 202. And then that knockout over against Alexander Gustafsson, where he landed an uppercut, pivot off, overhand right. Boom, 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 slip pivot, boom, overhand right. Beautiful knockout. One of the best and most technical knockouts I've ever seen in MMA. That came at UFC Fight Night. Let's see. UFC Fight Night 109 in May of 2017. It was the main event in the 5th round at 1 minute and 5 seconds. But, man, Glover has been on a win streak, man. He's currently riding a 6-fight win streak. Yeah, 6-fight win streak. His last loss coming to Corey Anderson, who's a Bellator light heavyweight, on July 22nd, 2018 at UFC Fight Night 134. The main event of that night was Shogun Rua versus Anthony Smith. After that, he had a submission via arm triangle over Carl Roberson, a rear naked choke over Iwan Kutelaba, a split decision over Nikita Krylov, a fifth-round TKO over Anthony Smith, a third-round rear naked choke submission over Thiago Santos, and a second-round rear naked choke submission where he claimed the light heavyweight championship at 42 years old over Jan Blachowicz. I mean, man, if Glover takes Jiri to the ground, it's a wrap. The fight's over. It's done. It doesn't matter. I mean, 10 submissions to his name, but if Jiri goes to the ground with Glover, the fight's over. If the fight stays on the feet, I think Glover's in a lot of trouble, and I think he can get knocked out. But I also think Glover has good boxing. He's got a good right uppercut, a good left hook. He uses that Mike Tyson bob and weave style, hands high, walking forward, kind of walking in a straight line. His footwork isn't really there. He just walks straight on to a lot of punches. Against a guy who moves as much as Jiri Prochazka, who has fluid on the feet, who switches his stance, who pivots, moves in and out. That's going to be a problem with the walking forward, hands up high, bob and weave traditional boxing guard of a Glover Teixeira. Like, that's going to be a problem for Glover. You can't just walk forward on a guy in Jiri Prochazka. I think we're going to see Glover throw a couple combos on the feet and then look to push Jiri up against the cage, time him, get to his hips, get to the body lock, trip takedown, shoot at, lower his level, shoot in on a takedown, get that double leg, take him down, and then work to take the back. The minute this fight hits the mat, it's basically a wrap for Jiri Prochazka. Prochazka has lost via submission, and that's something we touched on earlier, I believe. If not, then you can forgive me. But 28-3-1 for Jiri Denisa Prochazka, number 2 ranked light heavyweight in the world. He lost one fight via submission, 2 by KO TKO. He got knocked out by Muhammad Lawal, which was his last loss in December of 2015. Since then, Jiri has gone on a win streak of 12 fights in a row. So since December 2015, he's 12-0 in professional MMA. Before the Muhammad Lawal loss, he lost to Abdul Karim Edilov via rear naked choke in the first round. And then before that, he lost via TKO to Bohan Velikovic. That was in December of 2012. And I believe Bohan is in Bellator, if I'm not mistaken, but that was via TKO as well. So one submission loss via rear naked choke back in 2013 does have me a little bit worried for Jiri. And the fact that Dominic Reyes was able to stun him on the feet with a left hand after he got that little cage angle, and then Jiri kind of panic wrestled and got caught in a guillotine where Dominic Reyes almost had that guillotine, and that would have been it. He also got taken down by Dominic Reyes. It has me worried about the takedowns in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu of Glover because, like I said, if Glover gets Jiri to the ground, or let's say Glover hurts Jiri with a left hook, wobbles him, and Jiri panic wrestles, if he panic wrestles against Glover, Glover is going to sprawl out, spin to take the back, flatten him out, ground and pound his face into the mat, and then strangle him with a rear naked choke for the submission victory. I don't expect this fight to go past 2 rounds, and I don't expect this fight to go the distance at all. Like I said, lucky if it gets past 2 rounds. Either way, somebody's getting finished here. This is a fight where somebody's going to sleep. 2 fights in the UFC per Prochazka, 2 knockouts. First fight, UFC 251 on Fight Island, a knockout over Volkan Oezdemir. He got hurt with a left hook in that fight, got wobbled, got stunned, but he was able to weather through the storm and catch Volkan with a left question mark kick. He went inside low kick, and then he faked the inside low and came up top with a left round kick, wrapped it right around the head of Volkan, hurt him, jumped in, kind of faked the flying knee after a couple combinations, got him up against the cage, 1-2, boom, dropped him, put him out cold. Against Dominic Reyes, a lot of the same, switching stances a lot. He'll go 1-2, right uppercut, switch southpaw, right hook, straight left, left hook, right uppercut, switching stance as he moves in and out. He'll throw a right elbow to switch to southpaw, then throw a straight left hand, a right hook, a left elbow, and then he'll use that left elbow again to set up a spinning elbow as you're trying to circle away. That's what he did against Dominic Reyes. Reyes tried to time it with that cage angle to set up the left hand. He circled off, dropped his hands, and boom, got caught with the spinning elbow and knocked out. Glover with the fact that he keeps his hands high, uses a little bit of head movement and walks forward, that's a recipe for disaster against Jiri Prochazka. Because if you just put your hands up and walk forward, Yuri's going to light you up. Yuri's got the footwork. He's got the movement. He's got the hands low style. He keeps his hands on his waist sometimes, going palm to the back of the hand, kind of to hide the angle and the trajectory and the direction that the punches are coming from. By keeping your hands low and leaning your head forward, one, you give the illusion that your body is actually closer to the opponent than it actually is. And two, you're hiding the angle of your punches. So it's harder to see a straight right hand. It's harder to see a straight left. It's harder to see a switch stance left or a switch stance right hand. And Yuri's always changing his stances. He has a traditional style of martial arts on the feet, and he mixes it up better than any light heavyweight. Like I said, a light heavyweight version of Dominic Cruz. I do worry with the hands low that Glover might be able to time Yuri stepping in and land that overhand right, or time him with a left hook. Why do I worry about the left hook? Because up against the fence, Yuri got caught by Volkan Oezdemir with a left hook, and the left hand of Dominic Reyes caught Yuri multiple times. I know southpaw versus orthodox, a lead left hand versus a rear left hand is different, but left hands have hurt Yuri in the past and hurt him in the UFC. I worry about the left hook of Glover Teixeira. Like I said, he is tricky. He is powerful. He's got good boxing. Like I said, kind of a boxer, brawler, but really no kicking in terms of Glover Teixeira. I think it would, benefit him to use kicks here, because maybe even Yuri times him, stepping in, drops him with a shot, and then Glover can have Yuri follow him to the mat and then spin to get up to a hip, spin around and use that to get a takedown, kind of like what he did against Thiago Santos, where he got dropped and then allowed Thiago to get him on the ground, and then use that, shrimping up to a hip, turn the corner and got into top position, and then eventually got to the back and worked to get the rear naked choke. Glover gets dropped in almost all of his fights, and I think this is the point where that drop kind of, I think this is the point where that catches up to him, but we'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about the stats very quickly. 6'2" for Glover Teixeira, 6'3" for the challenger and the number 2 ranked Jiri Prochazka. A 4-inch reach advantage for Jiri. So if Jiri can keep him on the feet and keep him at a distance, Yuri's going to light up Glover Teixeira on the feet. I really think it's going to be hard for Glover to close that distance, and the best way he's going to have to do it is to either hurt Jiri on the feet with that beautiful left hook, or land a combination, get him backing up, kind of have him lose balance, back him up to the cage, and then shoot your takedowns from there. That's the only way I see Glover having any success in this fight. 4-inch reach advantage, though, is going to be hard against the guy who uses those long hands, those long arms to measure and control the distance, and then time you stepping in with the switch stance combinations. A 2.5-inch leg reach advantage also for the challenger in Jiri Prochazka. When it comes to win percentages, 90% of the wins coming by way of KO for Jiri, 53% coming by way of KO for Glover, 32% by submission for Teixeira, 7% by submission for Jiri, 15% via decision for Glover, and 3% via decision for Jiri Prochazka. So an 18% decision win rate. This fight's not going the distance. We've talked about it already. Average fight time, Glover's got a little bit more experience. I mean, vastly more experience in the UFC, but overall fight time is pretty close. 9 minutes and 10 seconds for the champion in Glover versus 7 minutes and 39 seconds for Jiri Prochazka. Knockdown average per 15-minute fight. Jiri gets almost 2 knockdowns per 15 minutes at 1.96. Glover comes back with a 0.41 knockdown average per 15-minute fight. But he's got more and more knockdowns in his recent fights, and he's looked better and better on this win streak that he's currently on. The win over Jan Blachowicz, the dominating win after a very, very hard first and second round for Glover against Anthony Smith. When you look at significant strikes landed per minute, you got 3.72 for Glover Teixeira to 7.19 significant strikes landed per minute for Jiri. A huge advantage there in terms of activity and strikes landed. And then you think, oh, well, he lands so much, but his significant strike accuracy can't be that good. It's actually higher than the champion. 48% significant strike accuracy for Glover to 52% striking accuracy for the challenger and the number 2 ranked Jiri Prochazka. Strikes absorbed per minute, 3.83 for Glover Teixeira to 6.8 for Jiri Prochazka. So his defense isn't the best. He gets hit a lot. Yuri's there to be hit. That's why I'm worried about the left hook and the right hand of Glover Teixeira. Jiri is there to be hit, and left hands and the left hook has been a problem for him in his UFC career. When it comes to the grappling, I mean, it's all Glover Teixeira. 2.11 takedowns per 15-minute fight to 0.98 for Jiri Prochazka. Takedown accuracy 100% for Jiri, but he doesn't really go for takedowns. 39% accuracy on the takedowns for Glover, but he shoots a lot of them. Takedown defense, 60% for Teixeira to 50% for Jiri. So 50% takedown defense against a guy who's as decorated a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, grappler, and ground and pound artist as Glover Teixeira, that's a problem. If he gets in on the hips and takes Jiri to the ground, I mean, it can be a wrap as quick as you can say both these guys' names. I mean, that's how quickly it could be over. But, you know, I guess when it comes to the pick, I think a lot of people are going to be leaning Jiri here, and I'm not surprised. You know, I think that that's definitely a good option. I don't think Jiri should be a minus 200 favorite over Glover. I know Glover's usually an underdog. I know he gets dropped in a lot of fights, but I think this should be close to a pick 'em. I could see it like a minus 115 to a minus 110. Maybe Jiri's like a minus 140 to a plus 120 for Glover. But having Jiri as a minus 200 favorite is a bit ridiculous in my opinion. I know he's hyped. I know he's got a lot of wins. I know he's got a great record, but I think that's a little crazy. You know, but when it comes to the pick, like I said, I think that Glover can definitely get Jiri to the ground, rough him up with the ground and pound, get him to expose his back and choke him out. But I think it's going to be very hard for Glover to close the distance. And I think those first two rounds for Glover are going to be very hard for him to get through the wild striking style, the stance switches, the combinations, the stance switching combinations, the in and out movement, the hands low style with the punches coming at a different angle. I think that's going to be a little bit of a problem here for Glover. I also think that the hands low style of Jiri is actually going to aid him in seeing the takedown attempts and aid him a little bit in the takedown defense. That's why I think if Glover's going to get these takedowns, he's got to push and pressure Jiri up against the cage. But it's going to be hard to pressure a guy like Jiri Prochazka, who, like I said, straight left, right hand, switch stance, in and out, constantly angling, switching, pivoting off, in and out, you know, constantly hip bumping. He likes to hip bump in too, like a Dominic Cruz, which is why I made the comparison. I think Jiri's going to light him up when he's trying to close the distance, drop him. If Jiri follows Glover to the ground, he's an idiot. He has to let him up. He hurts him, drops him, lets him up, kind of times him, boom, boom, hurts him again. Glover he backs off a little bit, changes his stance, uses his hands out in front, and he times him shooting a takedown and lands a flying knee and knocks Glover Teixeira out cold to become the new UFC light heavyweight champion. So my pick is the number 2 ranked Jiri BJP or Denisa Prochazka to defeat Glover Teixeira via a second round flying knee knockout and become the new UFC light heavyweight champion. And you're going to say, why a flying knee? The takedown attempts and also the fact that when you look at Jiri Prochazka's record and look at his wins, he actually has, I believe it's 2 knockouts via flying knee. One over Vladimir Ayas at GCF. Here we go, a flying knee over Radovan Estewin in GCF 23. A flying knee knockout over Martin Solch at GCF 26. A flying knee knockout over Thomas Perez in the first round. Third round for the one against Martin Stolch. And first round, 26 seconds in for the one against Radovan Estewin. Head kicking knees. So he's got, I believe, 3 or 4 flying knee knockouts on his record. I think with the takedown heavy style of Glover Teixeira that he's going to look to employ, he's going to hurt him on the feet, drop him. Glover's going to get back up. He's going to hurt him again, come up the middle, and land that flying knee knockout.